Hello, everyone. Welcome to I Choose to Grow. My name is Sayama, and today I am going to show you how I make basil salt. The one thing that I love about basil salt is that I still have the opportunity to enjoy the taste of basil even throughout the winter months, such as sprinkling them on my tomatoes. I love this particular type of basil salt that I am making as a finishing salt. I could sprinkle it on spaghetti or other dishes where I want the taste of basil to be present. And also, I thought it was fitting to go ahead and create this video since many of you have been growing basil. It is growing in abundance, and you want to know how you can use it because it's somewhat getting out of control, but in a good way. So, first, I want to go ahead and let you know about the basil I am using. I am using a combination of Genovese basil as well as the sweet basil. And when I harvest, I want to go ahead and show you where I harvest and how I harvest. The ways that I typically harvest my basil from the plant is kind of like right where you see these two little small little leaves that are, I usually would harvest it right there. I would typically cut it because basil has a very stemmy, woody stem. So that is where I would actually cut it and then harvest this part. Hope you can see it right here. Right here, where you see those baby leaves, this is typically where I would harvest the basil and keep this portion. So this is one that I already picked. And I want to go ahead and let you know I have harvested already lots of leaves right here. When you're making basil salt, just try to have everything right there, such as the basil, the salt, your measuring cup, as well as the blender and the tray that you will have it on. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, how I actually pull the leaves off of the basil stem is I just go ahead and just snap these leaves off. Just go ahead and snap them off. Even the little small leaves, I just make sure I just grab them all. Just snap those off and lift every last one of them. Now, none of this is going to waste because I am also still going to use these stems for something else. And I'm going to go ahead and show you how and why I keep these stems. So right here, just go ahead and harvest all the leaves. And sometimes these little baby leaves can actually be really, really small. I just still go ahead, pull them off, scrape them off, whatever, however you want to call it. These have already been washed and dried. I washed them last night, let them dry overnight. So that's why they look a little bit wilted, but that's just because they're no longer in the ground. So I have washed these, let them dry overnight. So now they're nice and clean, and potentially bug free because I don't put anything on my plants. So there's the potential of there being what we know outside little critters. So now with the stems, what I do with the stems, I go ahead and just kind of snap them off, break them off. See, they're kind of they're very tough. So you might have to use a knife, your fingers, and I'm going to show you what I do with the stem. So that way, like I said earlier, nothing goes to waste. So right here, I already have some of the stems in olive oil. And I just put these stems in here, and I'm just going to let them soak in the olive oil for about 2 to 3 weeks. I'm actually going to fill it up a little bit more all the way to the top. And every other day, I'm going to go ahead and shake it up. And then later on, I'll do another video of how I actually get the infused oil and put it into another container. But for right now, This is how I use these stems so that way I can enjoy my taste of basil and oil. So let's go ahead and get started with the portion that we have been waiting for, which is making the basil salt. So first, I have my measuring cup. This right here is 1/2 cup. And what I do is that I get my basil leaves and I just stuff them in there, hold them down. So right there we have a 1/2 cup. Pour it in here. I'm gonna do 2 cups. I do this first before I put in the salt. And also I want to go ahead and let you know the type of salt that I am putting in is coarse salt. You can use pink Himalaya, you can do kosher, or you can do sea salt. Whichever one, whatever taste, whatever your need is, it all depends on you. So I have put in a cup of basil. And right now I am going to just play the game of chop and grind until it gets to the consistency that I want. But I kind of just want to go ahead and just pulverize this as much as possible before I put in the salt. Because with the salt, I still wanted to kind of have like the crystals. If I were to put this in there now, it's going to pretty much just become a very big powder, which actually is good, can taste good. So if that's something that you're looking for, go ahead and do that. But usually for me in my cooking, I go ahead and I like to put this in last so that way I can have some of those crystals. So right now I'm going to go ahead and do the chop and grind, chop and grind, chop and grind, grind and chop, and then I will get back in just a few minutes. Now, one thing I do want to say is that with the chop and grind, they both do a little bit. They have different function, different things. So I actually do a combination of both. And right here, you can actually see how the leaves have somewhat actually been chopped and grinded. So I'm gonna go ahead and get back to the chop and grind. From time to time, I recommend that you get that spoon and you get the pieces that are on the side, or maybe even on the top of your processor. This is just a regular, simple processor. You can find them from various different places. You can use the bigger ones or you can use the smaller one. I prefer this one with my basil salts because I'm not making something extremely huge. This is just a smaller batch. When you hear that sound and it's not moving much, that means that the chopping has primarily been accomplished. And then that's when I just go into the grinding portion. Now, right here, this is where I add some more leaves. So right now we are back at it. I'll put it in another cup. So right now we are at, for memory's sake, 1.5 cups. And it's important to kind of remember exactly how many basil leaves you have put in there because we're going to match that ratio with the salt. So remember, chop and grind, switch it up in between the both, because we want to pretty much just make this as chopped up as possible using this food processor. Push it down a little more. And every now and then you might have to move stuff around to get it going, making sure that you are incorporating all of the leaves and that all of them are getting finely chopped and grind equally. All right, I'm going to do one more pass on the chop and grind, then I'm going to go ahead and add the salt. Go ahead and mix this up. Make sure this is getting its fair share throughout all the leaves. All right, I think we are where we need to be. Now, remember, we had 1.5 cups of basil. Grind it up. This is where I'm going to go ahead and mash this by adding that 1.5 cups of coarse salt. Remember, you can use whatever type you want, whether you would like to use the Himalayan salt, the sea salt, or the kosher salt. Just make sure that it's coarse, whichever one you want to use. So this right here, I'm going to start out with 1 cup, and then I'm going to kind of eye it. And before I add that other 1/2 cup. Now you can do this chop and grind once again. Now I'm going to go ahead and incorporate the top that has probably the salt that has floated to the top, as well as the basil. I'm going to go ahead and mix what is on these sides. Mix it all up in here. I want everything to have its fair share of grinding and chopping and incorporation. Now we are almost to the end. But one more time, I'm going to go ahead and scrape the side, make sure all of this is in here, has been chopped and grinded. Oh my goodness, it just smells so good. Oh, I cannot wait to sprinkle this. Oh my goodness. All on some freshly cut tomatoes. So I'm going to go ahead and just show you real quick just how beautiful this looks. See that beautiful, oh, there we go. That is so gorgeous. Oh my goodness. If you could just smell it. So right here, if this is a deep color, what you're looking for, you can stop right here. I'm telling you, either way, you are going to love it. But oh my goodness, it just smells so good. If you want it to be deep, saturated, more of the basil flavor, that is where you would end. But if you wanted to add a little more salt, you can. Like right now, I'm not going to add a full half cup, but I'm just going to add a little bit more. Sprinkle it around, just a little bit more. So I would say maybe 1/4 cup. I'm just going to mix it up just a little bit more. Boy, I tell you, it smells so good over here. So good. So good. All right. Oh my goodness. Look at this. This is amazing. I'm going to stop right here. I'm not even going to add that other 4th cup. I think I want a deep basil. Look how beautiful that is. Awesome. You could actually sprinkle this on some tomatoes or whatever you're making right now. But what I do is that I allow it to dry, but I also do kind of sneak. So from time to time, put it on my tomatoes. So I'm going to stop right here and then show you how I put everything on the tray. So here is the tray that I have. Got a little bit of salt on it from earlier. And what I do is that I just go ahead, take this off, and just scoop it out on the tray. Go ahead and bring it down just a little bit. Let me move this out of the way. Take this off. Scrape this off as best as you can. I usually do actually follow up and do a lot more scraping. But for real quick, I'm just going to go ahead and do that. And then I just scoop this out as much as possible. I usually scrape all this literally out. I don't want nothing to be missing from the whole entire thing because it just tastes that good. Absolutely delicious. And then we have the basil salt right here. Then I just spread it out on a sheet. You can put it on a plate or paper towel. It's completely up to you. But I like to put it on these cookie sheets. And I just spread it out. Try to get it as evenly as possible. And like every day. Come in here, mix it up, because as it dries, it's going to solidify. It's going to kind of get stuck, and you just got to come in here and break it up. But I go ahead and I just try to spread it out as much as possible. Now, in the drying time, depending upon how your house is, you can actually cover it with a paper towel, but I wouldn't cover it with plastic or put anything on here that would not allow it to breathe. So if you have a place where you can actually dry this in this capacity or with a paper towel, go ahead and do so. I usually put mine in a pantry. I have a place where I dry all of my herbals, salts and things, and I just let it sit there until it is dry and the moisture has actually left the salt. Because right now, if you were to feel it, you could actually feel that it is. One of the golden doodles must see somebody out there. So if you hear anything in the background, one of them is getting super excited. They probably see a squirrel or something. There's no telling. But what I do is that I just spread it out, let it dry. I'll say I give it maybe around like about 5 to 7 days. Purpose. It's just a matter of time. Purpose. Hey. See, he doesn't know I'm recording, nor does he probably care. But I just let this dry until it has no more moisture in it. And I'm going to show you what it's going to look like. Okay. Let me see. Purpose. I'm recording. Like he really cares. You don't know I have 2 golden doodles and also make their food. Let me show you what it is going to look like. When it is dry, it's going to look a little bit lighter, but the flavor is going to be there. So this is one of the containers that I put it in. And this is a salt and pepper shaker. And when it is dry, you're going to be able to tell. It's not going to have that wetness anymore. And you want it to be completely dry because you don't want this to mildew. This will stay in your pantries for maybe around like about a good year or 2, depending upon how the temperature of your house, where you are. But I have seen where these have stored in people's pantries for 2 years and they still taste amazing. But the main thing is you want it in an airtight container once it has dried. So this one right here is salt and pepper shaker. I'm not gonna lie, I keep this in my purse because there are times when I want some basil salt or I want some onion salt, which this is the onion salt because I don't have the basil salt that is dried yet. This is the first time I've harvested that amount. But there are times when I just want to sprinkle a little bit of my basil salt or my onion salt. This is the green onion salt that I made. So yes, I do keep this one in my purse. This is another little small one, really cute, makes wonderful gifts for people. And yes, it does actually, I don't know if you're able to see it, but it does come out. And it is just such a wonderful gift, something absolutely amazing to give to friends and family. But I have several jars of these in my green onion salt just because we go through green onion salt like crazy here at the house. And this was green onions that I had harvested from the garden. So I'm telling you, it is time to make your own salts. It is time to harvest whatever you were growing, making these salts. Not only is it a great finishing salt, but it is also a wonderful opportunity and way to be able to preserve what you are growing. If you're not able to grow this, find a friend, a neighbor, someone else who is. But I'm telling you, it's time for us to grow our own food. It is time for us to make our own infused oils. It is time for us to take charge over what we are putting in our bodies. I know for a fact that what I am putting in my body as it pertains to this basil salt and this onion salt that does not have all those other contaminants that are in a lot of other products that we have. Grew this from my yard, and I'm telling you, you are going to love it. So, yes, that is how I make my basil salt. And I would guarantee that you are going to love this recipe. It is amazing. So go ahead and share this with your friends, your family, your colleagues, other culinary artists, or just share this because I want for everybody to have this at their table just like I have it at my table. So let's get the cooking. Let's get let's get to preserving, and let's just get to just making great things here at our table. So until next time, you have a blessed and joyous day in the Lord.